It is great to see you again on the Coinceras channel. Greetings all. Is a massive black swan event imminent in the Bitcoin market, let it be known. Concerning the regulation and adoption of cryptocurrencies, MiCA is currently a major issue in the European Union. On top of that, this is going to be the first big step toward regulating cryptocurrency. But the question that needs answering is, will it help or hurt the industry? Here is a good overview of the consequences of MiCA's wrath on stable currencies: algorithmic banned, one-to-one liquid asset backing assets hidden from third parties, and her wrath is slated to take effect at the end of the month. This last point about Ripple, the stable coin, is interesting. Many will say that this is fantastic news for Ripple stablecoin, and they're not wrong. While this is fantastic news for XRP, the first issue is, what kind of market reaction can we expect? Simply put, I believe MiCA to be the most transparent cryptocurrency regulation on a global scale. To address MiCA, I anticipate that other nations will vigorously pursue the passage of a regulatory legislation that would establish global standards. To the best of my knowledge, this will be the pioneering work in its field. That, in my view, will set the stage for the long overdue global standardization of cryptocurrencies. Everyone is attempting to figure out what this means for Tether, though. We now have Tether's status update for multi-party. What does this mean for the market as a whole? Tether has until June 30th to conform to the EU MiCA regulations. I find this subject quite interesting. Despite the fact that the EU regulator requires 60% of backing to be in cash on hand, the CEO is nonetheless worried about the risk of bank failure. Honest to goodness, it's obvious he's right. Listen, the big banks and other established companies are going to be ecstatic about this. Another thing that annoys me is this. I can understand how a 60-40 split could cause problems with bank cash. It is possible that I am totally incorrect regarding this. Now that we know so much about banks, I don't think any trustworthy coin issuer should use bank currency as collateral. Yeah, I hear that a lot. In addition, he brought up our worries about the possible capital reserve requirements set by the EU during an April Exane interview, saying that we are currently in the process of discussing them with the regulator. Savings in an uninsured bank account are a bad idea. Uninsured cash goes bankrupt along with a bank, he added, adding that we may take a page out of Silicon Valley Bank's and another major US stablecoins book. It is recommended that all stablecoin reserves be kept in US Treasury notes. Reason being, they would prefer not to maintain huge reserves and uninsured cash deposits, which could put them at danger in the case of a bank failure. The rightful owner receives their money back if a bank goes bankrupt. An attestation was published last month declaring that the majority of the approximately $110 billion in circulation at the end of the first quarter were backed by US Treasuries. It is my sincere wish that all have a prosperous alt season. I have generated an exhaustive list of resources for you to review in order to learn where the major players are putting their money, which might result in a substantial return on investment for you. All 30 of the crypto gems I'm giving away have been vetted and ranked by level of danger. These two manuals are available to you at no cost. Take immediate action by claiming your access through one of the links provided in the explanation below. For what reason are you all doing nothing? Make sure you get this so you can savor the next season to the max. In addition to this inquiry, you can find an extra update at this link. It restates what Teller's CEO said about stablecoins and MiCA in the pig whale 2 months ago. As far as I can tell, nothing has changed since then. MiCA is also involved. Rama will come into this world on June 30th. Here we are, at the Tether. The most troublesome part of this MiCA species, in our opinion, are the extremely strict regulations about reserve management. The 60% cash deposit is examined in further detail here. Personally, I think that's a huge problem. I regard it as a massive risk. In this very moment, as I indicated earlier, when we look into this, we need to think about global constraints in addition to mica. It would appear that the United States Congress is now considering a number of measures. It appears to me that mica's actions are similar to the problem we're seeing in the US. However, my point in making that statement is unclear. In my view, the present government leaders and bankers are being propped up by much of this. The core of my complaint is included in that. There will soon be a crackdown on cryptocurrency in the United States. Foreign digital asset transaction facilitators, particularly exchanges linked to persons who support terrorism, might be subject to automated sanctions, according to a recent financing proposal contained by the Senate Select Committee on Intelligence. To avoid sanctions, the crypto business would be required by the measure to identify users. The inclusion of anti-crypto nonsense in both legislation is my biggest concern. Senator Warren's team has been meeting with industry representatives to attempt and remove it from the final National Defense Authorization Act. This is my hope. This is my wish. I should mention that this has been going on for a while. In 2023, during Operation Choke, the anti-crypto narrative starts to gather traction in the market. At the same time, the 2.0 narrative is still very much alive. I have previously dealt with the matter of whether you like Tether or not, thus it is irrelevant. So, the Tether dilemma is back on my mind. The idea of supporting banks in a 60-40 split is just crazy, in my view. It sounds insane to me. On top of that, I think mica is great in many situations. From my point of view, it's great for company. But when these regulatory sweeps start, the bankers get additional weapons. In my opinion, it's a problem. This post also contains a quote from Aaron Rode, so please pay close attention. There has been a loss in crypto. Those in Congress who are enthused about crypto-related measures clearly didn't give them the attention they needed. Indeed, I share your sentiment. This ground has previously been covered by me. Much like other bills that purport to support cryptocurrency, these have hidden agendas. They achieve nothing more than giving the executive branch and banks even greater power. Secured Adam Schiff's campaign for the California U.S. Senate was the icing on the cake for the biggest crypto-based super PAC. Because its backers are anti-freedom allies, this super PAC serves no purpose and will do far more damage than good. At the same time, it appears that many congressional activities and crypto proposals are focused on giving banks even more power and support. This is of utmost importance. Personal view here. If we don't read and understand these bills well before analyzing them, we can end up giving more power to the exact people whose influence we're trying to limit. Put another way, the big banks and other incumbents have been using Operation Choke Point 2.0 to try to bring down this economic sector. As previously stated, Operation 2.0's choke point is still in effect. It is turning up to be a big topic in the upcoming November election. This politically fueled, unlawful, and possibly FDIC violating witch hunt targeting US fintech and cryptocurrency companies, which began in April according to a post by Caitlin Long. Absolutely, wholeheartedly agree with you. Coming back to the subject of Ripple and stable coins, I still think the US will follow MiCA's lead in implementing some of its policies. This is a major obstacle since the powerful bankers in the US and UK are power hungry and would stop at nothing to keep their positions. Here might trigger a huge chain reaction. Isolating the largest illiquid issuers in the market and strengthening their anti-crypto campaign are the only outcomes of this. For me, that's the main red flag. At that point, the video shuts off. It would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and like my channel. Depart, muchas gracias.